This is the Power Producers Podcast, where we are refining and redefining the sales game.
Rule number one is you have to believe in yourself. You're the only one who doesn't think you belong in this appointment. The prospect has already validated your existence by scheduling time with you. Get it through your head you belong here, go in there, crush it, and close the deal.
A place where sales professionals can come to learn from other sales professionals and thought leaders that have mastered their craft.
The difference between a good salesperson and a best-in-class salesperson is only 2 minutes. By spending an extra 2 minutes on what you might think is a mundane task in the sales game, you separate yourselves from the pack, you grow your book of business, you close more deals, and you retain your accounts.
As well as their peers who are still striving for perfection to achieve their why.
I have a wife and 4 kids. Failure is not an option.
Real sales professionals, real stories, real results. Are you ready to feel the power?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Power Producers Podcast. I am on the anchor leg of 4 straight hours of recording podcasts without a co-host because Kyle and his family are sick with the flu and RSV at the same time. Sounds like an awesome treat. But I have brought a guest today, and this one's a little bit different than what you normally hear from us. Greg Rueter from R&R Insurance Advisors. Is that correct?
You got it. Absolutely.
I knew there was a last word after R&R Insurance, and I had a brain freeze for a second. But he's here to talk about a pretty interesting concept that they're doing in their agency right now for deductible buybacks. And I know that a lot of the time that we talk on this podcast specifically about commercial insurance, middle market commercial products, but I have had so many people reach out to me in the recent past asking about deductible buyback programs and different options that I figured, let's have Greg come on and talk about what they're doing. Originally, he had reached out with me on LinkedIn to network. I don't remember for sure, but I probably wrote back and said, don't try and sell me anything, but I'll be happy to meet with you. And then we got on a call and talked for just really a few minutes. And I said, you know what, let's save this conversation and let's record a podcast around it, because I think that this is something that a lot of people are going to be looking at and exploring, especially with the hard market right now. Everybody's shopping. They're looking for ways to save. Deductible buybacks are not necessarily a new thing, but now there's new wrinkles getting put into that space with parametric companies and some other things out there that are kind of going after some of these coastal places to help them control costs as well. So we're just going to sit and chat for a little while and talk about what you guys are doing right now. So before we get into the nuts and bolts of how everything works in the policy or the program that you have, let's get you some credibility established first. So why don't you just take a couple of minutes and kind of introduce yourself, let everybody know where you came from, and then we're going to get into the discussion around what you're seeing right now with this deductible buyback product.
Sounds good. Appreciate the opportunity, David.
Sure thing.
Yeah, I've worked a little over 26 years for a Fortune 500 company, and we've specialized in the financial services side. So mainly financial institutions, banks, credit unions, finance companies of all sizes. And we've also acquired some dealer services companies over the past, 5-6 years. So we've expanded into the dealership space. So cars, power sports, everything. And have a portfolio of over 100 different products and services. So well-versed on a lot of different things, and kind of that problem solver, trusted advisor approach is what we've always done. And being nationwide, you get the unique pieces from all these different states of how people handle things, which is very similar even in the insurance world. How does, flood insurance or windshield coverage or glass, all those other things, it's so different, which is intriguing. But for us, having all those products and services and sitting down, being a consultant with our, financial institution and dealership partners is really just to sit down, talk with them a little bit, learn a little bit about their challenges, what they're running into. So being able to carry that over to the insurance space in this hard market is pretty easy, because even the first time we met, David, where it is just a conversation and see where it leads, that's what we've always done. And I think I mentioned you when we first chatted, a quote from my deceased grandmother, which is, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, use them proportionately. So the consultative sales side is really what I've done my whole career, and just sitting down with people trying to solve problems and see what's out there. And so as I was analyzing, what's out there and what am I missing or what else could be, started to look at our portfolio of products, and this one with the deductible reimbursement benefit and appliance and electronics repair reimbursement, things like that. Very timely in this hard market, even for folks that aren't in the insurance world 24/7, 365, they're talking about insurance. I mean, there's guys that I golf with or hang around with on the weekends, and they're not in the industry and they're talking about it. Like, are these insurance companies really losing $22 billion a year combined and all that? And I'm like, well, how many name storms do you have? And now we had fires in Maui and all these other things. So yeah, it's time to roll up the sleeve. But I do think.
And the thing is, this as well as I do, it's not even limited to that. Like, I think the average insured lives in a silo and thinks that because they didn't have a claim means that their premium shouldn't go up. And then the next thing is to say, well, we haven't had a storm come through our town, or nothing's really hit our state. The reality of the matter is, and I've said this over several episodes over and over and over again, because I want it to get into these agents' heads, reinsurance is affecting a lot of what's going on with the rates, and it's global. There's crap that's affecting your clients' homeowners rates right now that you don't even know happened on the other side of the world. And it's because the people who play in the reinsurance game play globally. And when you have things like, we had an earthquake in Turkey, we had another one over, like it was an earthquake or some flooding in Morocco or something in the last little bit, mudslides in the Philippines, just, I can go on and on and on. All of these catastrophes are getting to the point where we had so much hit the reinsurance layer that they finally took rate. And we're in this position because I feel like we would still be where we are today from an overall pricing standpoint. But what I don't like is the fact that because they had enough in reserve, they didn't take rate the last couple of years like they're taking this year. So the issue, albeit where we would probably be for rate, is magnified by the fact that it came all at one time. And that's what people have that's the pill that people are having a tough time swallowing. So yeah, I just want to make sure the agents out there understand, like, I get it that there's hail in the Midwest and Texas and, there's all of these other things, but keep in mind, it's not all about just what happened there. It's everywhere that's being affected at this point.
Yeah, like you said, it's worldwide, large, massive companies. As they look at it, there's still only 100 cents in every dollar. And you got, if they're paying it out in claims or the other, or, retention and, maybe some profits here and there, it is something that they have to pay attention to. But I think you're right. They were slow to react. Could they have started this a little earlier and, soften the blow a little bit? Probably, but it's the Monday morning quarterback that we get to play, I guess, at this point.
Well, it helps your cause, right? I mean, it gets everybody's attention now because they want to see what it is that they can do to minimize their issues. So talk a little bit about that. I mean, we've sort of danced around it a little bit. Go ahead and lay it out on the line. Like, we understand the problem is premium is going up.
Yep.
And we know that people want the solution to be that they pay less premium, but it's not just going to happen out of the blue. There's got to be some things that fall into place, or some other ancillary type products that you can add to your mix to make it easier.
You bet. Sounds good. So the primary benefit, as you talked about, was the deductible reimbursement side. So on the all vehicle, which is defined as your passenger vehicles, boats, motorcycles, campers, RVs, side-by-sides, personal watercraft, snowmobiles up here. I live in Minnesota, so up here that's pretty popular. Any of those, we will reimburse your customer an unlimited number of times, up to $1,000 per claim, anytime they pay their deductible on something they own and insure. So for one price, anything that David Carothers owns and insures, and you pay your deductible, we'll reimburse you. So the conversation for the agents at this time, and without fail, I hear it 8 to 10 times a day. The timing of this is perfect because that is the first thing we can do to help offset the premium increase is deductible. But the scary thought is it's a pretty high percentage of people that don't have $500 available for an emergency fund. So raising their deductible scares them when it comes to what if I have a claim. So in this case, they still have to pay it, but in short order, they're going to get up to $1,000 back. So it gives the agent the opportunity to kind of do an apples to apples. Here's where you are today on your renewal. And then here's plan B. Let's take a look at another option with this supplemental benefit. And it's not insurance, but it's approved in all 50 states. And you do not need to be licensed to sell it. So you're in Florida. If you have family up in Wyoming and you wanted to sell them this plan, you absolutely could. So it's one price for the year. Doesn't matter how many pieces of collateral they have, how many miles are on it, how old they are. So the administration and enrollment is really, really easy for the staff at the agency. Then we include with that repair reimbursement. So if you think of service contract or on a new vehicle, and it's a 3 or 36,000 mile bumper to bumper, same dynamics behind the product as far as what's covered. So it's not your wear and tear item. So it's not, brake pads, and it's not oil changes, things like that, but a mechanical failure. So you bring it to any mechanic you want to. We don't have a network of people. You don't have to get it pre-approved. And we really tried to structure this plan as keeping it simple. They're reimbursement benefits. We never send an adjuster out. We'll use the paperwork from the primary insurance carrier or the receipt from the repair shop if they brought it into a mechanic. And that's what we use. So prove ownership, and for deductible reimbursement, prove insurance, and that there was a plan there on the date of loss. And we can get the claims turned around pretty quick. On the home side, it's a one-time $2,500 deductible reimbursement in that 1 year period. And again, it doesn't have to match their policy. So you can sell it today, even if somebody's renewal isn't until January. And then it's a 50% home electronics and appliance reimbursement. So somebody comes into your house to fix a leaky dishwasher, or the ice maker on my refrigerator went out, they had to replace the circuit board, was $440. I got $220 back from this, which more than covers the cost of the plan for the whole year. And even at that includes some nice revenue for the agency. So those are the two primary benefits.
So how do agents sell it? Like, how do they set the table? What are they listening for? What are the talking points to where they know, okay, I need to reach out to Greg and find out how I can get this thing set up for them?
Yeah, a lot of it comes down to the conversation at renewal. That's where we're getting a lot of activity right now, as the agents laying out, here's two options. Here's what you had in the past, but there's a pretty significant increase in premium. Now, we included the ABC Insurance Agency all vehicle protection plan, and here's the benefits. This is what it will include. And we did raise your deductible, maybe to $1,000. If you have carriers, that'll go a little higher. If you have an insured that's already comfortable with a $500 deductible, moving them to $1,000 ultimately makes their net deductible zero. If you have an option, move them to $1,500, and that way their net is still the $500 that they were comfortable paying. And then if they have multiple vehicles and a few toys, I had a new record last week where an agent called and said he saved somebody over $800 by increasing their deductible because they had multiple vehicles, a boat, a camper, a couple snowmobiles, stuff like that. So it can add up in a hurry. Now that's changing too. The market we're in, some of these increases, there aren't any options. They don't want to give the discount to a higher deductible. They're forced to do it. We have, had a big announcement last week from a large carrier in the state of Texas that now it's a minimum 2% for wind and hail. And there really isn't any savings on the premium if you're bumping somebody up there. So that makes it a challenge. So ultimately here's some options. Let's help you make an educated buying decision. But the nice thing about it is when I talk to people, and as I was developing this last summer, and we signed up our first agency about a year ago, and now we're getting dangerously close to having 100 agencies across the country and signing up almost one new one a day. Lots of activity, a lot of referrals now from current agents sharing, in different meetings and things that they go to. So that the timing has been really, really good. But ultimately, it's sit down, help them make an educated decision. Does that work? But as we go through it, and I sit down and share the benefits, talk to you about what that is, 85+% of the time, people nod their head like, I would buy that product, and I'd buy it from my mechanic or the guy that did the roof on my house or something like that, because it's a good value and there's enough benefit in it that for say $159 for the year as a retail side, that's a pretty good benefit. And I had an agent the other day on the homeowner's side. I'm doing a training. He goes, well, at $2,500 benefit at $159, if I file a claim once every 15.7 years, I break even. Plus I have all the other benefits. And I'm like, yeah, you look at it that way. Or at $159 for the year, for less than 50 cents a day per plan, whether the all vehicle or the home, you get a lot of meaningful benefits. So a lot of people are even putting it out on social media, on their website. We put a little YouTube video together that's customized for each agency. So we encourage people to do that. We've started real recently, just folks that are doing TikTok videos and other little podcasts and notes, bringing it up. And it's resonating with a lot of people.
So what are the objections that an agent would hear?
The number one is it's too good to be true. Like, man, for $159, I get all of that. And that's the benefit of us being able to say it's been around for over 16 years. We're already enrolling over 50,000 people every month through our other channels, through the financial institutions and dealerships. And by year end, we're going to hit 6 million total people that have been enrolled in one of the plans. So the credibility is there. We have two really solid carriers behind it that help develop it, and on the administration, it's Lloyd's of London and Assurant. I think everybody's probably heard of them. So that adds some credibility as well. I keep telling the agents you can charge more if you want to, but for the most part, that's the number one. Otherwise, back to even what you said, well, I haven't filed a claim in forever. Yeah, we'll go ahead and raise my deductible. Maybe I don't need that. But that's where we get into the repair reimbursement benefits. The all vehicle plan also has a really good fully managed identity theft benefit that some agents are coming back saying, that's a great idea. In this market, I have people that are paying $8, $10, $12 a month for that exact same benefit, and it's part of this. So there's some pretty good value there as well. I think I've only had 2 cases where, either agents or folks I was talking to and brainstorming with last year where they said, yeah, Greg, I don't think I would buy it. One of them was a recent college graduate. She lived with her parents and takes public transportation. So I'm like, yep, you're right. You probably don't need it, but I think your parents could probably use the home protection plan. And the other one would be like my elderly father. He's drives an old Buick LeSabre, has a $100 deductible with State Farm. I would never get clearance to increase his deductible or change. That's just what he's had.
He's probably been with
years.
Yeah, he's probably been with State Farm for 40 years and pays
$37
every.
Yep.
Yeah, pays $37 every 6 months in premium too. It's like crazy. That's one of the benefits of some of the captives like that. My parents are in the same boat, man. My mom and dad have been with State Farm for, ever since I'm 50, so probably close to 50 years at this point. And, you're right. But my point is this, people, you got to know who your ideal prospect is. It doesn't matter what the line of business, doesn't even honestly matter what you're selling or what industry you're in. Know who your audience is and whether or not it even makes sense to bring it up. So, one of the things that you and I had talked about while we were shooting the breeze a little bit before we came on and started recording was some of the creative ways that people are using this. Like you had even mentioned businesses using it as almost like an employee benefit. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, actually, hadn't crossed my mind, but right away, the early agency partners that we had that were testing this brought up the idea of, well, what do you have for our commercial clients? Or, if we do employee benefits, what could you have there? And we went back to Assurance Plus, who's the administrator on this, and worked out a plan that, they could sell it. We could batch enroll folks just off an employee census like they're used to. But you could offer it as a gift, a holiday gift at the summer picnic, give everybody one of the plans, or just include it as another supplemental employee benefit. We've had agents tell us, people are getting really creative in this challenging market for hiring people and what they have to pay. That, I've had multiple people say they give away Spotify or Netflix subscriptions as an employee benefit, because for the younger generations, that's a big deal. as important as, what day off do I have during the week, or how many hours do I have to work without grabbing my cell phone to take a look at it and get caught up on all the other social media stuff going on. So creative way to think about it, but just shows the flexibility of the program where if there's an opportunity, we can work with the administrator, go back and find a way to make it happen.
One of the things that you mentioned, and you sort of glazed over it a little bit, but identity theft's a big one. I gotta believe that if you can, and you said that it's a good product, so I want to hear more about it. But like, to me, that sells the deal in and of itself for the most part, because if you've got an identity theft product that's well constructed that will actually respond, that's something everybody can relate to. And the number of people who have not had an attempt on their identity to be stolen is rapidly decreasing. I mean, I was part of a breach that happened at Wawa, which you don't have those in Minnesota, but you have, they're based out of Jersey, where my wife is from, and they came to Florida. Now it's essentially a good convenience store. It's like a Tim Hortons or a Sheetz or one of those. But they had a massive breach a few years ago, and the breach went from March or April all the way through the beginning of December of that year.
Mm-hmm.
They got me 2 or 3 times. And this is after I'd had debit and credit cards replaced and everything. And it wasn't the gas pump, which is where everybody thinks. It was all point of sale systems.
Yeah.
I figured it out because I had gone in to grab a drink and something for breakfast quick when me and my buddies were headed out of town for our annual spring training trip to Port Charlotte, which is about an hour and a half, 2 hours away. And when we got to Port Charlotte, my bank account was drained. And it had been used in Southeast Florida. It had been used in Michigan. It had been used in Texas. And I'm like, how's this even happen? Like, how does
your
my
buddies
bank...
had fun. I bet you they gave you a lot of grief over that. Sure, Dave.
Oh yeah. How does my bank even... how does my bank even allow this to happen? You know? And because I can promise you, if I was trying to make a purchase in any of those places, they'd flag me for fraud protection, and I'm honestly using my card. So the time it gets swiped, nobody stops them. So I get through that one, and about 4 months later, I get hit again. And it's all traced back. And I was like, I didn't go, because like I don't use cards for a lot. So it's easy for me to triangulate. So I say that because I feel like all of us are going to get hit at some point if we haven't. It's just too easy at this point. And the people who don't believe it's going to happen to them, they're the ones that are going to get it the worst. So talk a little bit about that product and the benefits that it has, because I think that's something that even as an employer, if I knew that was a flat price, per employee per year for me to give a benefit like that, to me, it's a no-brainer, especially if it's going to pay out and it's easy for them to use.
Yeah, it is. We've, again, worked with this company for quite a while. And to your point, it is a matter of if, not when. Most of us have had multiple. You just don't hear about them anymore because there's so much other stuff going on in the news.
It's not big news anymore. It's everyday occurrence.
It's like, oh, okay, been there, done that. But, here we go again, and everybody knows the process. But and that's one of the reasons why it kind of feels good, and it's a good mix. We did it initially as a filing opportunity where it was a way to make it a supplemental benefit plan, think AAA or AFLAC, things like that, where you don't need to be licensed to sell it. But it is a really good benefit. What it will do, it's a fully managed recovery benefit. We get a power of attorney. We notify the Federal Trade Commission on behalf of your client. We notify all 3 credit bureaus, and we work with them to get them back to pre-event status, whether it takes 2 hours, 2 weeks, or a year. I mean, we do all the heavy lifting for them and guide them through that process. So again, it's not a prevention tactic where I put a hold on, my credit bureau and, you can't run a bureau unless I unlock it. It's when it happens. But we encourage people all the time, if all of a sudden something doesn't feel right, or you go to file your taxes and they said you already filed them, or you lost your purse at Target, or whatever the case may be, put a call in, have us do some digging, have us do some research on it, and see what happens, because it doesn't cost them anything. There's no, it's free for this amount of time, and then based on number of hours, it's all included in that protection plan. So along with the deductible reimbursement, the repair reimbursement, there's even some emergency travel, things like that. That identity theft benefit is really, really good. And that's why I encourage the agents, as they offer it, to talk about all of them. Just, don't assume, none of us have a crystal ball to be able to say, well, I know David's not going to be interested in identity theft. I would have been wrong, because you got excited about it. And that's what we have to remember as salespeople, is we don't know everything going on the other side of the phone or the other side of the desk. Everybody has stuff happening, and we just have to let them know it's available, answer their questions, and help them make an educated buying decision, see if it's right for them. But that identity theft benefit is really, really good, getting a lot of play. And is definitely one, again, you get a lot of head nodding on, like, oh yeah, I did hear about that, or my neighbor, or my grandparents, or whatever the case may be. It does resonate well with people.
I feel like with the mechanical breakdown one, you probably almost have to say that and duck a little bit for the number of phone calls people get about their expired car warranty and everything else. Talk a little bit about what that product looks like and how it's different from a car warranty, if it is like an extended warranty on a car.
Yeah, the benefits that are part of it are very similar as far as what's defined, what's covered. It's mechanical failure of a part, so it's not wear and tear, and it's not maintenance. So the language of that new car warranty or a vehicle service contract, all the stuff they're trying to sell you post-close like that, the language is the same. What's nice here is it covers anything you own and insure for that. And it's 20% of parts and labor back to a max of $500 per claim to a maximum of $1,000 a year. That benefit gets used a lot. I had the satellite receiver on my truck go out. It was $750. So I got $150 back, which pretty much paid me back for the cost of the plan. If you get a new transmission, 20%, let's say it's $7,000, the $1,400 is above the $500 per claim max. So you get $500, but you still have $500 left to use on future claims. We have folks that file 3, 4, 5, 6 claims in a year just on that benefit. But that's what it's designed for, is just kind of soften the blow a little bit as the cost of parts has gone up. Labor posted rates at every mechanic and dealership across the country are going up significantly because they have to pay more to get good talent. So it's going to get passed on down to the consumer, similar to the hard market we're in. And it's kind of the same. So what's nice is it's a blanketed approach. And again, it doesn't matter how old that vehicle is or how many miles are on it. It doesn't expire in 4 years or 60,000 miles. And did that start when the odometer was at 0 or at the 42,000 when I bought it? It's just easy. Anything that David owns and insures has that benefit. So if you have a boat and something goes out on the electronics or in the motor, you can bring it to the marina, have them fix it. You get 20% of parts and labor back.
Good deal. So what about marketing materials? How do they learn more? Do you have a way, like, do you guys do webinars? Do you have a learning section on your website? Is there a way to co-brand marketing materials or brand their own so that they can use it when they're talking with people? What about tools and things that you use, that you have, that'll empower people to more educatedly represent this product in the marketplace?
We are invisible to the customer. We actually set up each individual agency. So they'll offer the ABC Insurance All Vehicle Protection Plan or the ABC Insurance Home Protection Plan. And so everything has their logo on it. Their enrollment portal is branded to them. And we put together all the marketing tools that they need to include in their proposals. We do short little explainer videos for them to post. We do all the staff training individually, all of that. So it's really up to the agency to talk about it. I mean, we don't have any startup fees and there aren't any minimums. And we do a little bit of an interview process to make sure it makes sense, because otherwise we get a lot of people that'll sign up, think it's a great idea, then they get busy or they have a claim event happen and we lose all of our traction. So we do empower each agency to take control of it and run with it. And it takes time. We're there all the way through. We have a real good focused success plan and marketing kit and the video and everything we put together for them as we launch it. And but the enrollment side is really easy. It's name, email, cell phone, address. We don't even need your make, model, VIN of all your toys. So if you got a yard full of stuff, doesn't matter. We don't need it. So on the date of loss, can you prove you own it, prove you insure it, and you're good to go. But we do all that on their behalf. It's pretty easy. I mean, the process, so there's no heavy lifting for them other than announce it on your social media and put something on your website. That's about it.
You got a captive audience of between 25 and 30,000 people listening to this right now. What have they missed, or what have we missed in telling them?
You know, it's ultimately what we've found. You know, when we rolled out the first agencies about a year ago, we had a handful of them, and we intentionally just kept it at that because we wanted to work through the process, beat up on the enrollment process, beat up on the claims process, go through everything start to finish. And in about April of this year, now we kind of the official, like, let's go, let's do this. When we go back to everybody and talk to our successful agencies, all it is they talk about it. It's that easy. So don't overcomplicate it, I guess, is my thing. Is, you know, you can sit around and, you know, sitting around a bonfire having a beer as you're on your little road trip going to spring training, and you know, just talk about it, because it's an easy conversation to have these days, especially when, you know, you're potentially saving people some money, or if they just had a claim event. Boy, top of mind, gee, I have this thing, you know, we should talk about it. I'll get you some more information. Email them the link, email them the video, let them watch it, answer their questions, and away we go. But to me, ultimately, don't overthink it. Don't think it's a big deal. You can do an elevator pitch in under 30 seconds, get a lot of head nodding, answer their questions, follow up with some stuff. Again, every agency is different. Some people still do face-to-face annual reviews. Others, it's all online, or they record videos and, you know, do conversations like you and I are having right now for renewals. You know, everybody's different. It's we'll work with you to find a way to, you know, embed it into your process. It's not, this is how you have to do it, because we know every agency is different. We all have different personalities and presentation styles. We'll adjust to it. That's where all of our marketing kit and all of our materials came from, is feedback from agents. Wouldn't it be nice if we had one group call and say, hey, well, how about a QR code? Can you put that on here? And did a quick little research, figured it out, and had our marketing gal, which happens to be my daughter, put it together, and we put QR codes on everything and make it real easy. So we're an extension of the agency. We're here to help. There's, again, without any setup fees or anything, I don't make any money on it unless you guys sell something. And that's what we're here to do, and support you along the way. You know, I've got the history of working for the same employer for 26 years. My clients know my cell phone is always on. I'm around. You know, don't necessarily have to post it right now on this group that they blow up my phone, but you know, they can check out R&R Insurance Advisors.net, get a little more information there, search us out on Facebook and LinkedIn, and do that. We'll have the one-on-one conversation with them and share some information and see if it's right. And we've had some agencies say no, and we've had others that, gee, I thought it would be easy. I thought we could just do this and people would buy it. Again, depending upon your market and geography, so to speak, of what's happening in your area, you know, we're learning a lot and adjusting on the fly, so to speak. But I think we've got a product and the process down to make it real easy and help folks generate some additional revenue. Because right now, hard market is tough, and I've seen agents almost in tears on video calls about, man, my retention is horrible and people are shopping like left and right. And I challenge them that it's actually an opportunity. It's going to be a lot of work, but there's new clients to be had and conversations to be had to win additional households to work with, and move away from just the bottom line race to the bottom on premium. It's like, no, let's make the educated decision. Let's figure it out together. But that way, when there's a new product or new opportunity, they know who to call. They're going to circle back to their agent and give them some things to think about that aren't just property casualty, homeowners insurance, or other. And it opens the door then again, just like selling life insurance or umbrella liability policies, pet insurance, whatever the case is, whatever else you're selling, that they think of you as a resource for evaluating different things. They've done their due diligence and you believe in it, then you know what, it must be worth learning more about. Maybe I should give it a try.
Absolutely. So is the best way for them to get set up to represent this product to go to the rnrinsurance.com website?
R&R Insurance Advisors.net. And yeah, on there's contact information. There is, some additional information. The displays on the plans are there. My contact info is there, as well as another gentleman I'm working with on this that I brought on board to help out and handle some of the demand, which is great. But yeah, reach out direct, have, again, LinkedIn messages, or just, on my emails and on the website, they can schedule a 15-minute conversation with me and link our calendars together. But reach out, love having the conversations, and see if we can help people, gain some more product share or more wallet share, I guess, generate some revenue. But really, it's about helping people in this hard market kind of figure out what's going on and see if there's another option to consider that they maybe didn't have access to in the past.
There you have it. R&R Insurance Advisors.net. I want to make sure you got that right. R&R Insurance Advisors.net. That's the gateway for you to open up and explore, and from there, see where it takes you. In the meantime, I encourage everybody go at least take the time to check it out. Greg, if there's nothing else that you want to add, I think we're at a good point to wrap.
You got it. I'm good to go.
Yeah, we'll get this thing out, and hopefully we can start helping people who are suffering right now, because it's brutal all the way around for sure. Everybody have a great week, and we'll catch you next time. See ya.